Anyway, Roger's here. He's happy to be here without Gene. We're talking about not only movies, which we haven't gotten to yet, we're talking about interracial love right now. Roger, one of the most fascinating things about Roger, and people don't know it, is that he has a black wife.
Now,
they certainly know it if they listen to this program. It's all you can talk about.
Is she full black?
Of course.
I mean, she's not mulatto or anything. She's dark.
Haven't you seen her?
No, I've never seen Roger's wife.
Pictures of her.
I have never seen it.
She's a brown-skinned woman.
Oh, brown.
No,
is she darker than Robin?
I don't get into things like that.
Oh, yes,
Roger.
you do. You never looked to see if your wife was darker than...
Suppose she was missing.
If you pretend your wife, you're calling the police, someone has kidnapped your wife.
She looks a lot like Robin.
She does. Oh. Blacker than Robin?
You see, that sort of thing, it just seems to me pointless to talk about.
Oh, Roger.
It depends on what show you're on. On The Tonight Show, it would be pointless. On this show...
never bring it up.
No, show, nothing is pointless.
Is she as chesty as Robin? Nobody's as chesty as Robin. Why don't you admit that? She's close?
She has a very nice figure. Yes.
Really? Big busted. Lucky devil. You a breast man?
Do you know anybody who isn't, Howard? Have you met anyone who isn't?
You know, I never thought I was.
Oh, please.
But I guess I am.
Yeah, right
you
along
specialize in bringing these bimbos in here and getting them to take their brassieres
These
off.
are not bimbos.
Now, why are you calling
why are you
those
saying
young
this?
ladies?
This is a girl I should
young
take
ladies.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
I think that's so wrong.
You must have some motive in doing that.
Oh, how dare you. How dare you.
And on your old television show, you used to have all of the silicone.
Yes. And you watched it every week.
Watched that. Remember the contest to see who was real and who wasn't?
That was brilliant.
Very interesting program. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway.
So how did they meet? I see. We don't even know how.
We met in a restaurant with mutual friends.
Was it a soul food place?
No.
Like ribs or something like that?
Vegetarian restaurant.
Vegetarian restaurant.
Now, was it a fix-up or you just happened to be at the same meal?
She was at a table with some people I knew.
Uh-huh.
And you are right away, did you always have sort of a Love Jones for black women? because people don't know this. Roger was a ladies' man, and I don't doubt it, because, let's face it.
Now, how do you know whether that's true or not?
Because Gene told me.
And he
did?
lie.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He told me that you used to get laid a lot when you were single. Because I always thought, you remember I told you I thought you were gay?
Now, that's amazing that Gene, I didn't know that Gene had an opinion on it.
Yeah, Gene was in here by himself one time, and I said, gee, I always thought Roger was gay. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You just seemed asexual to me. He goes, quite the contrary.
That's true.
Roger really gets laid a lot. And before he got married...
That's an exact quote from
Yeah,
Gene?
oh yeah.
Oh
yeah,
Gene's such a bad guy after all.
No. He said...
Oh, you like him now.
He said, you'd be shocked to know this. This is exactly what he said. He said, you'd be shocked to know this, but his penis is overworked more than his fork. That's what he said.
Now
that's a quote.
That doesn't sound...
His penis is more worked than his fork. Really? That was what he said.
A wonderful guy.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, hey, listen, obviously. So, anyway. You're a guy were you dating a lot of black women? Was that because some guys go for that kind of exotica?
Well, I was a bachelor for a long time, and I dated all kinds of women, and basically what attracted me to them
was their black skin.
Was not something as specialized. I didn't have one particular tiny type.
You went out with all types.
Yes.
And because I picture you when you were a kid, you were probably heavy, right?
Yeah.
So it was hard for you to get girls.
No.
Really?
Never. No. Never.
Really?
Never.
Why was it so hard for me?
You had other drawbacks.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
Maybe you had a lot of coke. Was that it?
No.
No, you never into the drug scene.
No, I've never been a drug.
You've got a big. You hung like a bratwurst.
I've never experienced coke.
Really? You've never experienced it?
No.
Really?
Never. No, I don't. No, I never smoked pot.
You never smoked pot?
No.
Now that's curious.
Yeah.
You're a curious guy. Why wouldn't you try that?
Because
you were busy.
I was drinking so much that I was afraid if I got into anything else, I would really be in.
Did
you
you
were an
drink
alcoholic?
a lot?
Yeah.
No kidding.
So
you never
you
have admitted that
now?
anywhere.
I always try to save something for you, Howard.
Did you have to go to like Alcoholics Anonymous and do that whole trip?
That's anonymous. One would not say something.
Oh,
like
you're
that.
kidding.
Did you go to
that
the
bad?
Betty Ford Clinic or something?
Well, first of all, no. But secondly, you're not supposed to talk about stuff.
Yes, you are. You can talk for you. It's only anonymous if you want to.
I would say, Howard, that I'm staying sober one day at a time.
Oh, really? No
12
kidding.
steps.
Oh, you're more interesting than I thought. Black women drinking.
Man,
There's a whole
what did you
profile
do?
here, man. Oh, whoa. No kidding.
What was your drink of choice?
Basically, Scotch and soda.
Oh, a
How's
Scotch
the
and soda man.
How's the food at Betty Ford?
Johnny Walker Black Label.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, I've been. I haven't. Betty Ford had not even founded herself when I stopped drinking.
Wow.
I've been sober for a long time.
All right. So you were here. You were an alcoholic.
Were you drinking at the time you met this woman?
That could have been it.
No.
Maybe he didn't thought she was
years.
white. No, but what
It's been
struck
a
me,
long time.
it really struck me as peculiar because I said, okay, Roger comes on the scene. Let's face it, the guy's very popular. The guy's got some dough.
Oh, and he's got quite a nice lifestyle.
Nice
there.
lifestyle. He's already, to me, I figure he's like Warren Beatty in a way. You know, he's just going to play it out. He's never going to get married. Maybe when he's 60 or something, he's going to get married.
Bachelor at this
You know, you got a
point.
nice life. You don't have to sit there and share any of your money with these women. You don't have to share your apartment. You have your own setup. You can keep your computer anywhere you want. No one's sitting telling you what to do. It's a nice lifestyle.
See, I love the way you put in about the computer. See,
Right.
girls just don't understand that.
Right, yeah, exactly. Girls don't understand your computer. You want to keep it where you want to keep it.
You know what really makes me mad? Now, I don't
Right.
know what your wife says. Does she ever use the following phrase? Are you playing with your computer again?
Yeah, but she thinks it's a toy.
And you say, I'm working on my computer.
I'm
working
creating.
on my computer.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
look
I'm
at-
creating.
He's always playing on his computer.
Or how about guys with their toys?
Yeah,
right? That kind of rap. Yeah, okay.
Don't understand how important it is to be on Prodigy, masquerading as somebody else and talking about yourself.
Right.
This is work.
That's work. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
I'm
work.
learning about people.
Takes a lot of
understand
time.
that.
Boy, you're an interesting interview. I didn't know you were an alkie. Boy, this is good. Black wife, alkie. Were you molested as a child?
No.
Too bad. That would have been a perfect day in my book. Had you been molested, that would have been it. I would say you would be the best guest
I'm
of all
sorry,
time.
but I had a very, very happy childhood.
Really, too bad.
Darn.
All right, let's get back to it. So here you are, this single guy, and you're getting laid a lot. And I mean, you're probably getting models and stuff. I mean,
Actresses, starlets.
I would
because he's a
think.
movie
I
reviewer.
wouldn't have been interested in models.
Really?
And besides that, in Chicago, you find a different kind of woman. You generally find a woman you can talk to, somebody who's smart, somebody who's working at a real job, instead of these women who are essentially desired only because of their apparent.
So a lot of the
of their apparent attributes.
So the smart women live in Chicago?
You have a different kind of woman. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't, in Chicago,
So not a
women
show
are more
business
real.
woman. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Say it, the
My
pigs.
wife, for example.
in Chicago. Right.
No, Chicago women are
Beautiful women?
as beautiful as anybody else.
Guys who live in Chicago are very, very defensive about Chicago.
Chicago is a great place to live.
It actually is kind of nice.
Is
I
it?
almost
I
lived
don't
there.
know there.
Yeah.
I don't know
No.
that town at all.
Personally, I hated the Midwest. It just was me. I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't handle it. I lived in Detroit for a year, and it was just like maybe the worst year of my life.
Yeah, I lived in
wouldn't say
Ohio
that
and I had to
Detroit
get
and
out.
Chicago were.
Yeah, I guess in my mind it was all one, so I just couldn't deal with it, and I had to get out of there, and
Yeah.
it just was not going well.
The most I've seen of Chicago is the airport.
Yeah, and that's nice.
Very nice airport.
Well, I went around with this guy one night, Norm Weiner, from a station called WXRT in Chicago.
I know Norm. Yeah, I used to be his landlord.
Yeah, he wanted to hire me as his morning man a long time ago, and he took me on a tour of Chicago at night to like blues clubs.
Did he take you to his house?
No.
I had this. I bought this coach house, and then when I moved out of it, I rented it to him.
Yeah.
And he had some structural engineer come around and examine it because he wanted to put in like 40,000 record albums.
Yeah, he was like real into the music, like
Yes,
to the
yes.
point,
And
like it
his
was.
collection.
He was like one of
Every
these.
single record ever made.
Yeah, he was like one of these program directors that was really into the music, and he said, "Yeah, I want you to be funny, but you got to get to at least 11 records an hour." And I just went, "Oh, Norm,
Well, that's
Norm."
the coolest. That's one of the coolest stations in Chicago.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
SRT.
Yeah, I
Because
just-
it's
I
not
couldn't
a
deal with it.
formula station. They pay a lot of attention to the music. He's the program director.
Yeah, real nice guy. He's been the program director there for like 100 years. But anyway, that's not the point. Let's get back to your black wife. Who cares about Norm? All right. So you're saying, all of a sudden, you see this black woman across
I
the
see
table.
this woman.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Roger doesn't see color.
Yeah, that's right. Sure.
He's colorblind.
I don't. But see, what Howard is suggesting is that that's all you see.
Right.
Well,
So-
she was a black woman.
Come on, but there
course
was
she
something,
was.
and you had never had a black woman before, true?
How
Not
do
true.
You know that?
Not true. So you had been having black women for a while.
No, that's
What are
not
you
true.
saying
I've
now?
just dated all kinds of women over a many years of dating.
Have you ever had like a real African type woman, like with a big afro and all that, and big afro?
A big afro and
black.
big afro.
I had
Full lips.
well,
You know what I'm
know,
That's
You're
so
talking,
unbelievable.
You're talking in cartoon stereotypes there.
No,
I don't know what he's saying,
I'm saying like a
actually.
real black
Give us
woman.
a name.
All right,
when
like
I was in
like
South
someone as
Africa,
dark as
I had
Wesley
a woman,
Snipes.
I had a girlfriend who was an African.
You were in South Africa dating a black woman?
I was at the University of Cape Town for a year.
No kidding. Oh, boy, aren't we
Boy, does
brave.
he flaunt convention. He goes to Cape Town to date a black
No
woman.
wonder you were drunk. God. All right,
Yeah,
so
your mind.
he must have been loaded during those years.
University of Cape Town was more integrated 25 years ago than the University of Illinois was, which I left in order to go there.
No kidding.
Believe it or not, had a larger percentage of black students. Yes.
So now, now that you
it was
meet
kind
this
of
woman,
a little island in the middle of all that fascism that was going on down there.
and do you get her in bed like almost immediately, or do you have to court her?
Oh, I wouldn't talk about that.
Really?
No, I wouldn't talk about that. No.
You won't?
We were good friends.
I'm surprised you won't talk about
We were
that.
good friends.
That means he befriended her first. That
I don't
wasn't
even
an
know which woman
immediate-
he's talking about now.
Your wife.
But it doesn't matter because I'm not going to say, no matter who it is.
How long does it take you to get her? And like, 'cause you
Oh,
know
I
what
wouldn't
takes
talk
me by
about- I
surprise?
wouldn't talk about that.
Because
no,
to
there are
me,
things that are private.
it's like just think he could have any woman he wants.
What are you saying? That black women don't rate?
No, I'm just saying
What are
that.
you
Like, look how
saying?
many black guys who get famous and they have to have white women.
There's not that many. How
Look
many
how many-
famous black guys are
Oh,
there?
come on, come on. And then Roger does something really
You know,
taboo.
what you do is you're
What is
limiting it,
taboo?
Howard, to something that is just black-white. We happened to date for several years. We really liked each other. We got along. We found that we had a lot of interests in common. We began to depend on each other. It became a partnership.
And her sexual skills were better than
Oh,
a white
boy.
woman's,
Here he
or
goes
comparable?
With his fairy tales
I wouldn't
again.
talk about that.
Really?
No.
Shocking.
But obviously,
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking.
obviously, she was the best he ever had because he married her.
Shocking. You won't talk about your wife's sexual skills.
No, I wouldn't. Not on
Really?
the radio, no.
What about on television? Realize that this is both.
In that case, doubly not.
Really?
Yes.
Would you talk about it
Interesting.
in private?
Will you
We
talk?
just-
If I turn off the microphones, can I learn about
Not to you.
it?
No.
Why? Why is that?
Because-
Why? You don't trust me?
Because, no, I don't.
Thanks.
Should I?
Oh, of course.
Have you given anyone the slightest reason over the years to trust
Oh,
you?
please. So there are people that you told about your wife's sexual abilities. It's just you tell them in private.
No, that isn't true. No, I
Interesting.
generally speaking don't talk about things like that.
So this is like
I don't know why you say it's taboo. Like
I
black
believe-
people aren't human.
No,
I
you
believe
know what
there's
I
a-
mean.
I
No,
believe
I
there's a
don't.
sort
Our
of a...
society has it's very
You,
unusual to see a white
apparently.
guy with a black woman who's
Not
very
really.
famous. Oh yes, very unusual.
name
don't.
several.
Oh please, let's not act naive. It is a very unusual thing.
Let's see now. Patrick Moynihan has a black daughter-in-law,
Daughter-in-law, but not a wife.
but his son married a black woman.
This is very unusual. I don't care what anyone says.
Well,
Do me a favor, how many
about
stars-
4%, about 4% of marriages in our country are interracial.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you've done some research.
No, I just read it in the paper, that's all.
And how are you feeling about the OJ case? You obviously think he's innocent, right?
He's been framed.
Has he been framed? Because you think like a black man now.
I think that the evidence is overwhelming against him.
Of course.
So you will say that OJ is guilty?
Of course.
It looks to me as if
He is guilty.
the evidence would convince most people that it
Yeah.
looks real bad.
And what about your wife? She thinks he's guilty?
I believe she does.
She does.
And isn't your wife a lawyer?
Yes.
Oh. See, she would know. Oh, he's guilty. But how come every black guy you
and
meet...
also, it's not a racial thing either.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
How every black guy we interview says OJ is innocent, despite the fact that his blood is there at the scene. Why is that?
Most of the black people that I know feel that he probably did it.
Really? Well, I don't know where. That's a Chicago black people, not New York
They're
black
different.
people. That's a different black person altogether in Chicago. Because I am telling you,
Not
our,
only other women.
our New York blacks.
I think that in the privacy of their own minds, most people who look at the evidence feel that there's a lot more evidence indicating that he's guilty than there is that he is not guilty.
I see.
But I believe, of course, in the two-person theory.
You do.
There had to be another person involved.
Possible. I don't think OJ's that brave. I think he'd give it up in 2 seconds.
The more you look at the evidence, the more you cannot conceive. The evidence seems to link him with the crime, but there's no way to explain how only one person.
Conspiracy theory.
I think somebody else was involved.
I think it was him and Oswald. What do you think of that?
Where
All
was
right,
he at
very
the
good.
time?
I can think of at least one reason why it probably wasn't, but
There you
it's
go.
too obvious to point out.
All right. All right, now let's talk movies.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. You've already answered questions about... Have we answered all the questions about the black wife?
I think we've delved into that area enough for today.
What about your in-laws? Are they wild? I mean, are they like... Are
Some of the
they,
nicest
they run
people
around
I've ever
with
met.
Really?
And we have a
loincloth.
granddaughter and a grandson who we're
Really?
in love with. Yeah.
Was she married to a black man or a white man?
Black.
A black man. Interesting.
Brought a whole new dimension into my life to have these grandchildren.
Do you think you'll have children?
I don't think at this point, no.
No, they're not going to ruin their lives with children.
You know, it's wonderful to think about having a kid when you're 52, but then when they graduate from college, you're 73, you know?
Right.
And you're in your late 60s when they're teenagers. Now, that would really be a thrill.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
Yeah, the kids would be thrilled to have you show up at open school night.
Right.
63-year-old man.
Pop.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable. Boy, you must be good in bed.
Why do you say
Howard,
that?
I would not
Why?
have any opinion on that.
Because a black man is a tough act to follow in bed.
Oh, you are amazing.
If Roger can satisfy his wife to the point that she wanted to marry
Do you
him,
really think that
You
that's
are
all there is to a
amazing.
marriage?
yes, you must be excellent in the sack. You must have a bratwurst in your pants because to follow a black man, I know is very tough. I know is very tough.
You're amazing.
You think you reach where the last guy did? You never know. But I would always in the back of my mind say, no.
This is more your hang-up than it is.
Yes, it
probably
is.
Most
Yes.
people's,
You
yeah.
probably couldn't do this.
No, I could not follow a black man, I'm
I
sure.
don't know, Robin. That was an interesting statement, but I don't know who you was or what this was.
So
I
all
noticed that.
these years, you must have been attracted to Robin.
Robin is very attractive.
Yes.
Well, he never said.
You never even let on. You never asked her for a date. You never did anything. You never acted on it.
You don't act like that toward people that you hardly
Sure
know.
you do.
have to get to know
Well, you
them
did that with
first.
your wife.
Well, after a while, you get to know them.
For God's sake.
Well,
Did
how
you just
long
go
did
out
that
and try to
take,
pick
Roger?
up when you were single? Of course, we know you're faithful now.
Right.
Did you just go out and pick up strangers off the street?
Yes, he did.
You should see what I picked up.
Unfortunately.
That's why Quaaludes were invented.
Yeah,
For what I had to pick up and
I
have
think
sex with.
strays
You have
would
no
be a
idea.
better word.
You have no idea. That's why I rushed marriage, because I finally met a woman that was attractive that would have me. No, I had trouble getting women, unlike you. I had a whole different story going on. And I could not follow a black man in bed. I know it would be terrible. I'd have to hire
You
someone.
don't even know if you did, though.
I would have to hire someone to step on my back so that I could reach places that, I'm telling
Get
you.
an extension.
And the women who had sex with me were always high. My dates were drunker than you ever were. I'm telling you right now.
They're all in
It's
programs.
true. Yeah, they're all in. You probably ran into a few of them at AA. Oh, man, it's unbelievable. Well, if you want to ask Robin for a date now
But
that you
that's
know her
too late.
better.
I don't
Too
date
late.
married men.
No,
All right.
I don't date, and I don't date anyone except my wife.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's very antiquated, that belief. All right, I have to wrap this up because we have to talk a little movie stuff, and then, of course, I don't want to be late for my movie meeting today.
What studio are you going to work with?
I'm working with a studio called Reicher. It's a new studio that... you ever hear of a guy, David Kirkpatrick?
No.
He's the producer of my movie.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Paramount. He went over Reicher in there.
What movies has he made?
He gave me a whole long list. A lot of big
Top
movies.
Gun, Beverly
Yeah.
Hills Cop, An
First
Officer
one.
and a Gentleman.
You could have been on either one of those. Oh,
Yes.
all three, yeah. I can
Yeah.
see you carrying Deborah Winger off the factory floor.
Well, he's a movie executive. He's not a... He doesn't...
And I can see Deborah Winger carrying you off the factory
See, what
floor.
you're saying is,
In
what
a
do those
remake,
what
yeah.
do those movies have to... My movie doesn't have anything to do with any kind of movie being made in
Wayne's
Hollywood.
World.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. So, you know, he made a lot of them. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, too.
That was an excellent picture.
There you go. But anyway, Roger Ebert is here, and I was saying we have to wrap up now because we have to make sure I'm not late for my own movie meeting today.
That's right.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in. Hey, you
He
better
can't
review
wait
my...
to review your movie, I'm sure.
Yeah, you better give me a good review. You'll see, it's going to be a good movie.
We'll find out if you're really a friend or not, you see, because if we give it, or let's say if I give it a negative review, will you still be my friend,
Yes.
or will you not have me back on the program?
I will not have you back on
He'll
the program.
definitely have
I'll be
you
your
on
friend.
The program. Come on.
I'll have you
Because
on the
that's a
program.
Hollywood friendship, you know, they're your friend.
No. I
Until
do
you
not...
give them a bad review, then they're not your friend anymore.
No. I don't...
Gee, maybe they weren't your friend to begin with.
I would expect you to walk into the theater as you do with all your movies with an open mind and
Yeah.
not sit there and say, oh, it's Howard, we have to be extra tough
However,
because
if you
we are
can't
friendly
do that,
with him.
then you shouldn't review it.
Yeah, if you can't separate yourself from me and the relationship we have.
And
but
seeing him as a
I
radio
don't think there's
star.
going to be too much trouble doing that.
No, you know how some guys walk in and go right away, well, everyone's going to expect me to say something nice because I know Howard, I've been friendly with Howard,
Yeah, I'm not afraid,
so I've got to go out of my way.
I'm not afraid to give it a good review.
All right, good. That's all I care about.
Or a bad review.
And I will make sure at the screening there is a buffet with all of your favorites.
I'm sure you will.
Yes, absolutely, you will see. Uh-oh, yeah, I just got shot a look like, yeah, you'll get a good review when hell freezes over.
Right.
I know you'll disregard that remark when you're reviewing. Try to forget that. All right,
It'll be a little while.
let's go through a couple of new movies that you think are good. Actually, Roger's new book the one that's coming out in September sounds real good. Tell me what you were telling me during
the
the
glossary
commercial.
of movie terms.
Yeah.
This is like 450 things that when you read them in the book and then you go to the movies, you realize that they do this stuff all the time.
Listen to this.
And we were talking about the Nazi uniform
Right.
syndrome, yes. When a guy in a movie knocks out a Nazi guard, the uniform always is a perfect fit.
He's right.
And you said even if it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah, right. You notice in Arnold's new movie, doesn't he knock out a guy and put on his clothes, and it always fits perfect?
Yeah.
Except if it's a woman who knocks out somebody, the clothes are either much too large
Or too small.
or much too small.
Or much too small. Oh, and usually much too small.
Yes,
right.
yes, that's a good one.
All right, give us something else in movies that always happens.
Little girls who wear glasses always lie. Little boys who wear glasses always tell the truth.
Do you buy that one? I can't. I'm trying to think. I got to check that out. I got to look at that.
Yeah, that I'm
one.
going to have to look for.
All right,
Ali McGraw's disease.
Yeah, give that one.
That's in any movie where the heroine has a disease. She always gets more and more beautiful until she dies.
Right, and that's true.
That is.
The guys always get sicker and sicker. You know, like in Philadelphia.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Right.
They
But if
start
it's
to
a
look
woman, if it's
awful.
Julia Roberts or somebody, then they always get more and more beautiful
As they're dying.
Right.
as they're dying. Yes.
That's right.
Ali McGraw's disease. That's what they're dying of.
That's it.
There's the fruit cart syndrome.
What's that?
Every chase scene in a foreign locale involves the car knocking over a fruit cart.
That's right.
Right.
Every single
Absolutely.
The
That is
talking
true.
killer. The talking killer.
Yeah, go ahead. Do that one.
Whenever the villain has a gun pointed at the hero and all he has to do is pull the trigger,
Right.
he starts talking.
I know
Right.
that one.
Yes, that's
that
always.
always
Every-
kills me.
Every
This is
single
why you
Bond
never
movie,
win.
you know.
Yeah,
Well,
James
Mr.
Bond is screwing up everything.
Yeah.
All you got him in your sights. All you have to do is blow his brains out.
Right.
But you got to stop and tell him why or how you did your crime.
Yeah.
That
Now,
may
of course,
be
the corollary of that is the climbing villain.
The climbing villain.
When they're running away, they always climb.
Yeah, hop a fence. They climb something.
Or they climb, and then there's always the scene at the end where, for example, the new Bruce Willis picture.
Yeah.
Where they climb up to the top of this weird special effects. There's a tower that's obviously made out of special effects on top of this factory, so that at one point, you know, somebody can be dangling by one hand.
Right.
Right, and
Very
show the
nice.
muscles in their arms.
No,
and-
anybody who's running, you don't climb because then you're going to corner yourself on the top.
Yeah, why would you climb up? Then you have to have confrontation.
Yes.
Instead of
And
getting
then,
away.
of course, when you're up on the roof, that leads to the rooftop rule, which is guys can always calculate how to jump from one roof to the other,
Right.
but a woman will always just barely miss and have to be grabbed.
Yeah.
Never
Those might
fail.
be some of the single most annoying things
Yes,
about movies.
Absolutely.
I
Then
think.
there's also
and if
the
a woman is running through the woods,
Yeah.
she will fall.
Yes,
Right.
Yes, she will fall. But also, when a woman and a man are running together,
Uh-huh.
the man has to pull the woman.
Right.
In other words, she can't run with both of her
Alone.
arms free. She has to be pulled by the guy.
Right.
And this is true even in Sheena, Queen of the Jungle.
Yes.
Where
She pulled too?
Sheena has lived for 24 years in the jungle.
Right.
She speaks to the lions and tigers.
She has survived all
absolutely-
elements.
yes.
All by
A
herself.
television anchor man from Philadelphia lands there in
Right.
a helicopter, and immediately he's pulling her through the jungle.
Yeah, he's saving her now.
Now, here's another one.
Right.
Have you ever noticed the phenomenon of the seeing eye man?
The seeing eye man?
You've heard of a seeing eye dog.
Right.
Seeing eye man.
Who is the seeing eye
This is
man?
3 shots in montage.
Right.
For example, let's assume that there's a couple, a man and a woman on a desert island, and they're waiting for a rescue.
Right.
Shot number 1. Man looks at horizon and sees ship. Shot number 2. Points it out to woman. Shot number 3. Woman turns, sees ship, and nods gratefully. A
happens
woman
a lot.
is incapable in the movies. A woman is incapable of seeing anything that hasn't been pointed out to her by a man.
Wow.
Look, there's the airplane. Oh, yes, I see the airplane. There's the mountain we have to climb. Oh, there's the mountain we have to climb.
You know
Women
what I
cannot see
realize?
until it's been pointed out.
It's a funny thing. Hearing you list all these things, you know what I realize? You have way too much free time, Roger. I'm telling you
You've
right
been
now.
watching these movies way
You've been
too
watching them
closely.
too close.
Not
No,
true.
actually, he has hit everything that
I know,
annoys
it's
me about film.
amazing.
It's unbelievable. What about this new John Candy movie with Richard Lewis? Good or
worst.
bad?
Going
The worst?
east?
Unbelievably bad.
Unbelievable bad. Some tribute to John Candy as he goes up.
Well,
Well,
what
John-
did I tell you?
The shocking thing is there aren't even any scenes in the movie. John Candy doesn't even have any scenes where it appears that they were intended to be funny.
Really? Well, he never did any good. He had a couple of good movies. John Hughes.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I actually liked only the
He was
Lone
great in
Yeah,
Splash.
only- I like that
People
too.
Forget.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was really good in Splash.
Yeah, Splash. He was good in.
You know what was wrong with Splash?
What?
Daryl Hannah should have picked him instead of Tom Hanks.
Now that would have been cool.
Yes, because after all, she's a
I don't know
mermaid.
what kind of rock.
She's a mermaid. The
These
rules are.
are Rogers fantasies.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait
The
a minute.
heavy
wait a
guy
minute,
gets
wait
the
a
girl
minute.
in there.
Think about
He's
it.
gonna get the
Right, all right, go ahead.
The rules of the movie that the movie set up. She's a mermaid.
Right.
She's never seen a human male before.
That's right.
And she falls in love with the first one she sees.
Right.
Now, wouldn't it have been a lot funnier if she falls in love with John Candy?
I would never have believed
And
it.
Tom Hanks can't believe it.
It just wouldn't have been fun, I guess. I don't know.
I liked it the way it was.
Listen, Roger wanted King Kong to get the girl. He's told me that about 1,000,000 times. Wouldn't that be funny if he actually nailed her?
King Kong got the girl, Howard.
Well, come on, please, for goodness sakes. King Kong was brutalized. Okay.
It's kind of like a Fair to Remember, except they got to the top of the Empire State Building the hard way.
That's right.
On the outside.
And what's the best picture out right now that comes to mind?
Natural Born Killers, opening.
Really? Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Opening tomorrow.
I just talked to someone who saw that, said it was the worst piece of garbage they ever
Who
saw.
told you
Consider
that?
the source. This movie is amazing.
Is it really great?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good. Because it looked great.
And actually, to the degree that I know anything about you, which is a good question,
I will like
you would
it.
like this movie.
Well, I saw the previews of it on MTV, and I thought it was great.
Yeah,
the
I've
previews.
been waiting for this movie
The
because
visual
of the
style
previews.
in the film is amazing. There's a scene in the movie that's supposed to be a sitcom, and Rodney Dangerfield, it shows Juliette Lewis's childhood.
Right.
Rodney Dangerfield is her father. And he's an abusive, sexually abusive and physically abusive parent.
Right.
Vulgar, obscene, sweating, grotesque. And then they shoot it like a sitcom with a laugh track.
Right.
And he says these ugly, horrible things, and then the audience laughs. And it's very strange. It's a very eerie feeling.
And you can see that happening when serial killers now becoming
Well, yeah,
stars.
it's like the Married with Children syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Will Rodney get a nomination for this role?
No.
No.
It's not that kind of a role.
What did you think of Forrest Gump? I
loved it.
He's doing a special on it.
A week from this weekend. This weekend, Siskel and I, our show, Siskel and Ebert.
Aren't you sick of movies where retards become
It's
heroes?
on Fox 5 at 12:30 on Sunday night. This week we're doing the Natural Born Killers.
Aren't you sick of movies?
And next week we're doing a special show. We're doing a special show next weekend examining the phenomenon of Forrest Gump. This movie is back in first place after 10 weeks.
I know. Do you know any actual retarded people besides your partner?
Like
this movie is a fable. I got a letter. I've gotten some mail.
You have any how bad retarded people must feel?
From people criticizing this film for its portrayal of somebody with a low IQ.
Well,
the movie is a fable.
How many movies are we going to see where
supposed to
retarded people, though, are successble? Like, there's been a slew of them.
We've seen a lot of them. There was that one with
but there's also...
Remember the one where the bus from the institution went astray in Greenwich Village?
Yes.
I have a definition for that in my book.
Good.
It's called the baked potato people.
Right.
I've been tubbed, I've been scrubbed, I've been rubbed. I'm lovable, huggable, and eatable. See, that was a sign on a baked potato, but it describes this kind of movie.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
and there are a number of backlash editorials about Forrest Gump. I read one the other day that pointed out that, you can walk out of any place in Manhattan and run into some legless guy.
Yeah.
But
Listen,
you certainly don't feel the way about him that you do about Gary Sinise in that movie.
Right. One of the first of all,
let me just say something. Backlash will happen. I know when I wrote my book and I got all those good reviews, the publisher said to me, and a couple of publicists said to me, be prepared, because after you get all this great publicity, there'll be a wave in a couple of months after you're on the bestseller list.
It's known as the daily, weekly, monthly rule.
Yeah, that's right.
Where the daily people say it's great, the weekly people say it sucks, and then the monthly people say it's an interesting example of popular culture.
Right, yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And the Bruce Willis movie, real bad.
Color of Night.
Real bad. Worst movie you ever saw?
These ads don't give away the secret.
Right.
This movie gives away its own secret in presenting it.
Really?
The moment the secret is on the screen, you know what it is.
No kidding. That bad. And don't you get nervous when a guy...
Apply, from Ebert's little movie glossary, you could apply the law of economy of characters.
Which is?
Which teaches us that there is no extra character in any movie.
That's right.
So if there appears to be an extra character, that character is not the extra character.
Interesting. I'm learning too much.
That I always love. When you see a person, you go, that person's too big a star to just have a walk-on role.
Right.
So he means something to the plot.
He's got to do something.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So who reads Bruce Willis's scripts for him? Forrest Gump? Is that what we are learning here today on the show?
He has made some
bad moves.
Really
some
bad
turkeys,
movies.
Yeah, real turkeys. Makes you wonder, right?
You wonder, this was a big budget film.
Right.
And
why?
Somebody must have looked at it, and because it's about how he takes over this therapy group from his a colleague who gets murdered, presumably by one of the members of the therapy group, because the movie never considers the fact that the guy probably had, like 100 other clients.
Yeah, right.
And or maybe it was just somebody who broke into his. It had to be a member of the therapy group.
Right.
And so it has to be one of these 5 suspects. So right away, it's like an Agatha Christie plot. You know,
I
where
see.
Yeah, you're
it has
stuck in a
to- yeah.
train.
So it's real bad and it's
Ten
real
Little Indians,
Yeah.
wasn't that one of? Yeah.
Right.
First of all, I want to thank Roger Ebert for being here. What a pleasure to have him without
Always.
Gene. I mean, just to relax and have a good time with
No,
Roger.
Gene butting in.
Yeah, and to talk about interracial love and Roger's obvious weight problem, even though he doesn't want to admit it. Well, listen, he's not drinking anymore, so we learned that.
You know, that scale lurked around the studio the whole time Roger was there.
Usually Roger is willing to step on the scale. Today he is just ignoring it and saying it's all off.
Having exposed the scale.
Yes, I see. All right. Whatever you want
I'm
to
going to
say.
bring my own scale in the next time.
All of your books are great. The video, I love those video compilations
Yeah.
where you can sit and look at that. Just look for the Ebert name and you will know to buy it. Also, there'll be a little movie glossary coming out, which sounds like a fun book. That'll be coming out in October. I'm sure you'll come back and see us
Yeah, I
then.
love that.
The great Roger Ebert, everyone. Well, thanks for coming in. I love when you come on. Great.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for
How
coming in.
relaxing without Gene.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's great. Thanks for. You did really long. That was like one of the longest segments I think he's done with you in a while. Over an hour.
That's because I kept interrupting him so he couldn't get out of his points.
Would you like a water for the road?
I'd like a men's room.
First door on the left.
Okay.
Take care.
Oh, right here, okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.